Hello everyone, welcome to SAE podcast about the Holy Trinity. So I'm Gourang. I have Prasang and Khush with me. So the term, what do you think about the Holy Trinity?
Holy Trinity, right?
Yeah,
Well, I feel that those two words just describe the all the three cars like holy, like they're the god of the cars, and there are three, so the three cars. Basically, utna hi hai. And yeah, so Porsche came up with the 918. McLaren as a F1 successor, they came up with the P1, and Ferrari they continued their legacy car series, and they came up with the the Ferrari as its literal translation is. And yeah, the three cars were really comparable in terms of the performance. All three cars are hybrid cars, which was new at that point of time, early 2010s, like 2012, 2013. It was really early, and they set a lot of performance benchmarks in terms of the cars which later came out in the industry. So it was something which is pretty historic, and right now, we are seeing a new generation of the Holy Trinity coming out with the Ferrari F80 and the McLaren W1 so far, and Porsche is still yet to come up with something. I believe the Mission X, they're going to make it fully electric, I guess. We'll see though,
they might make it as a combustion as well.
hopefully.
So yeah, the term like cars is like ever changing because of new technology that is created and advancements in the way we use technology are different nearly every day. So hypercars in the 70s and the 80s, like the Lamborghini Countach, defined the beginning of the hypercar era and led us to a place that many visited only in their dreams. So today we're making this exotic cars that exceeds being powerful, fast, or exclusive. This is what the elite trio of hypercars that break every mold and introduce hybrid technology that we have seen like never before. That is what is the holy trinity of hypercars, which, as you said, includes the Porsche 918 Spider, the Ferrari Ferrari, and the McLaren P1. So let's deep dive into all these cars and let's see what performance they give out, what how they look like. Looks are obviously they are according to the person who likes it, who likes it not. Depends.
Yeah, I mean, that's a common theme throughout, like, even apart from the Holy Trinity, each person has their own individual taste in cars. So, yeah,
So what do
all
you like the
three.
most one?
I am Ferrari, obviously, La Ferrari, the Ferrari. So, La Ferrari was obviously like Ferrari has been having these anniversary cars every 10 years or so. They come up with a really special car. It started with the F40, then the F50, and Enzo, and now the La Ferrari, and now obviously we have a successor to it, the F80. So, yeah, basically, the Ferrari La Ferrari was a car which was heavily inspired from the F1 technology, which obviously Ferrari was excelling in it. It had a 6.3 liter naturally aspirated V12 along with one electric motor with the KERS. So it helped a lot in power output. It had approximately 950 horsepower, and it was paired up with a 7-speed DCT transmission as well. However, it was also only rear wheel drive, so putting up putting down all of those 950 horses down to the rear wheel, it was a challenging task. And uh, yeah, so that basically sums up La Ferrari. Apart from it, uh, I feel it's the most special because obviously it took inspiration from F1, and Ferrari and F1 has a huge history. And well, Ferrari speaks for itself in F1. There is no one who has to, you know, advocate for Ferrari. No one argues that Ferrari is not good in F1. I mean, in spite of the local uh, issues which it has, Ferrari is a historic company in F1 and in automotive industry as well. The LaFerrari had, I believe, 499 normal versions. By normal, I mean the non-convertible version with the swan doors, and it had 200 Aperita versions. So the convertible Aperita versions were a lot rarer than the normal uh, coupe versions of it.
Yeah, I mean, like Ferrari, a whole, it carries the history and the legacy as well. Oldest
Yeah,
oldest teams in the motorsport,
yeah,
and
it gets a premium every year as
yeah,
prize. It's crazy.
and I mean they are performing well now, better than the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
2 3 years.
yeah. True,
And
true.
like just the name Ferrari, it's just uh, holds a lot of power in every person who loves cars and who loves motorsports. Basically, it holds a lot of weight and a lot of bias too. If I'm not being, if I'm being honest. So yeah, the legacy is there, and obviously the amazing cars that have come out through Ferrari, and just, the technology that's been innovated there, been
Yeah,
legendary.
and a brand as big as Ferrari, like putting all of its power down in one car and calling it the Ferrari is a huge deal, and it
Yeah.
tells a lot about the car itself. According to me, in my opinion, it's the best looking Ferrari, and the F80 did not top it. And a fun fact. So Ferrari officially, La Ferrari means the Ferrari, but La also translates to a. So after the F80 was released, they like kind of downgraded the name, and they told that it's not no longer the Ferrari, it's a Ferrari
Oh,
now. So
nice.
that's something interesting about it. Yeah. Gaurang, which one is your
Hmm.
favorite car out of the
I
three?
mean, I'm a McLaren fan, I would say, and I'm really happy with what they're performing in this like in this season, and whatever upgrades they're bringing out, it is reflecting in their cars as well. So that is what P1 was about. Like we know all McLaren F1, which was made by the Gordon Murray. I would say he was the incredible, and what benchmark he set, that was exceeded by the P1. So yes, had, McLaren have a strong legacy in both Formula One racing and high performance sports cars with the F1, but now with the P1 and now with the W1, I would say. But P1 was iconic, I would say, because it basically incorporated the hybrid technology from the F1, which improved the track performance, handling, and speed. And they wanted to make a race like car which felt like a race car and gave the pure driving experience like the F1. So yes, so P1 was powered by a 3.8-liter V-twin turbocharged like V8 engine paired with an electric motor, and this produced a total of 903 horsepower with the electric motor enhancing the performance. And it has relatively small battery compared to what Porsche and the Ferrari are giving, but they in their system, in their electronics, they have included the DRS, the active wing, all the carbon fiber bits and pieces wherever they can reduce weight, increase power. It actually reflects in their car. So yeah, only like for it is rare P1 to find P1 because only 375 units were made in England. So like which speaks about itself. Like how rare it is, how like even owning that car makes you what it gives you a high status in the society. So yeah, and even good looking. That smiley face in front that basically reflects all the things what the driver will be experiencing when he's driving the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The P1 also, it was very revolutionary. It had a lot of like before the P1, I feel in general, before McLaren, the automotive industry focused a lot on the looks of the car, but McLaren brought about a significant change. They introduced a lot of interesting angles, which were very bold, since not all companies, preferred performance over it. But obviously, later on, we saw it with the Senna as well. They started making cars which were completely performance oriented, and they focused on styling as less as possible, which is also again a controversial thing which McLaren has done, but according to me, it is a very bold decision by McLaren.
Yeah.
Just also P1 holds a very special place in my heart because that was one of the first hypercars I sat in actually, and I that was the first hypercar I experienced in person. It was a
Bro just
crazy.
casually dropped casually dropped a flex. One of the first hypercars I ever sat in. One of the first. Nice.
See, it
Which
was
other
not one of it
hypercars?
was the first. Okay, the first car. It was like it was I think it was some exhibition or something that there was there, and it was on the showcase obviously. So I sat and I saw and they revved up the engine.
Where was this?
I think this was Delhi. I feel Delhi. Yeah,
There
Delhi?
was a P1 in Delhi. What?
yeah.
What?
I guess
I
this
would have
was
known, bro.
this was Delhi. Yeah, this
Oh,
was Delhi.
automotive show, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay, makes sense.
Not a personal P1. It wasn't a personal P1, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Crazy, bro.
that was that's why this it elevated my interest in hypercars.
Yeah.
P1 beautiful specimen of a car, no doubt about it.
P1 also, I mean, it was one of the first cars to have that insane rear wing with all of the
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
things. I mean, before that, very few cars had it, and P1 just came and revolutionized the entire thing. And now, practically each and every car needs to have it. Like even the F80, it has it. So yeah, crazy
And W1
technology.
takes it to the next level.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
W1 takes everything to the next level. Honestly, W1 has the way it's even manufactured. The W1. It's just they incorporated the Dassault additive manufacturing. That was
yeah,
the wishbones that are there in the suspension system of the W1. If you see that, that looks like generative design. That doesn't even look like it could be manufactured using the
yeah,
conventional
yeah. I've
method.
seen it. It's
It's
crazy.
just, it looks something out of a movie or something that you would never even imagine to put on a car, let alone a hypercar that has to work in the highest of levels.
I
It's
mean,
just
having a lot of hypercars in the market, but still these three are they are standing out. They have
Yeah,
something to prove. They have proved it in the past as well as now as well.
yeah.
So
Obviously, we see the value of these cars skyrocketing. I mean, I would rather invest in these cars rather than a stock market. You know, the stock market can fall. These cars' values are never gonna fall for sure.
yeah. I mean, like even now, I would have wanted an F1, like McLaren F1, if I have the money. It's still my dream to sit in those cars and like feel what they actually, how the engines rev, those that roaring in my ears. I want to experience that
it is
and
my
experience
bucket
it.
list item, like going to Yas World, Yas Island, and just like actually, you know that they have that F1 experience, no, around Yas Island.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
Around the Yash track, it's on my bucket list that I have to go there and sit in an F1 car and like take it around the track for a lap and just feel out. If I get enough money, I will do it. I know I'll do it. I need to start saving up.
yes.
Nice, nice. So yeah, that sums up the P1 as well. That leaves us with the 918. Prasang, anything you want to say on the
Yeah,
918?
918. So 918 is a very, I would say, classic car. I would say it
Classic.
doesn't. Yeah, it is a classic car. You see those when you see with the body, the shape of the 918.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you see the shape of 918. You when you imagine a super fast car, a hyper car, you imagine the body shape that a 918 has. You imagine those side diffusers. You imagine those floor. You imagine the air going out through those floor cutouts, and you imagine it just going super fast. And the engine on the 918 when it roars, it's just like it is something that can like blow your ears out. And
Well,
it's
that's any of these cars, right?
Any of these cars will.
true. But 9,000 RPM.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
9,000 RPM is just insane. V8 9,000 RPM, just it's just I can't even imagine how powerful that engine must be. Uh, just 578 PS of power that was done, 4.6 liters V8,
Hmm.
and it also has it's a hybrid car as we spoke. Right, all of these cars were hybrid. So 115 kilowatts of 115 kilowatt motor, and also it's one of the few cars that has more of the like convertible versions of it than the coupe. It has
Yeah,
more
yeah.
convertible versions. The Angry Spider, if you'll see it, it has more convertible versions.
I
So
mean, the Porsche wants people to enjoy the sun as well,
Well, that's
instead of
Porsche.
just on track.
That's Porsche summed up. I mean, what Prasang said earlier, like it just looks like a car which a normal person would envision. What Ferrari and McLaren did is that they revolutionized it. But Porsche, I mean, they're known to just stick. Like if it works, then there's no need to change anything, right?
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that's their motto, I feel. We
yeah.
see that with the 911 as well. Very little small changes they do just to
But
modernize it, just to keep up with the competition, and that's it. No revolutionary designs whatsoever, and
but they still keep up somehow. The GT3 RS, I mean,
yeah, they
the,
every I mean they're known to like really challenge the Nürburgring records every single time they
yeah.
release a GT3 RS or a GT2 RS, and it works. Their theory, it works basically. Yeah,
Even the in 918 Spider, you see there's regenerative braking. I don't see that in other cars though.
I
Regenerative
mean,
braking was that it wasn't in the La Ferrari, it wasn't in P1. That was the
oh
first time it came out.
damn, now that's something which
That's
is standard
revolutionary.
as it right now. True.
So
I mean,
regenerative braking, they don't change the looks, but they do change the technology, I feel. The
Yeah, that's
technology is they keep on innovating so hard, and they keep the classic legacy alive of the Porsche looking like the classic super fast car, but you still somehow have the technological advancements in the inside the car, but the outer shell of the car remains the same.
yeah, that is true.
I guess they want their car, like if the car is rolling in the streets, they want the people to say, yes, it's Porsche. And
Yeah,
they
they
don't,
want
they have set that image in the customer's mind that Porsche looks like this, and it will be continuing like this, and it works for them. Like I would
yeah
say, it
yeah
it's helping them a lot because they are not changing their designs. Like
yeah
other companies are changing design because they'll do like this, they'll make a new DRL or something like that. They'll change the aero inserts and all those things. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it is we are able to distinguish them, but in this we are not able to distinguish which generation is this, but which model is this. But still, it is a Porsche. It
Hmm.
delivers. That is their main point. It
Yeah,
delivers.
yeah.
delivers yeah
Yeah, and I believe the 918 is also the only all-wheel drive car in the Holy Trinity as well, right? The
yeah
LaFerrari is rear-wheel drive, the P1 is
yeah
rear-wheel drive.
Even if you haven't died.
Yeah, so that helps Porsche put out all the power, put down all the power so much better. And I believe it's the fastest from 0 to 60 miles per hour as well
yeah
among the
yeah.
three.
I
I
don't know
guess
about miles per hour because wait a minute, please. So now, the kilometers per hour 0 to 100 2.6 seconds. Compete with that. I mean,
Yeah, I
compete
mean,
if you can.
pretty much all of us have watched the GT episode on the Holy Trinity. It
Yeah,
sums
yeah.
up these cars really well. It there also the 918 was the fastest obviously from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is a great, very well engineered car while keeping all of their past history and the legacy in mind. Porsche, I mean, they've never not outdone themselves. Each and every iteration of whatever car they released, they always they just forget they they remember the history and then the one about. That's all they do, and they obviously right now a lot of fanboys behind Porsche, but they completely deserve the attention which they are getting right now.
definitely. And I feel like the major reason for the fan base that was created was the 918 and recently the GT3 RS because the GT3 RS was something that like attracted so many people in such a short span of time that I don't think even Porsche expected it.
Yeah,
And it's just a beautiful car. I mean, like, and looking at the 911, it's just it again continuing with the legacy, is like just looking the same, but having those top speeds just go up and up and up. That's what I think attracts more and more people every year, every with every single car.
true, true. They just Porsche. I mean, they also like Ferrari in F1. Porsche speak for themselves in the industry.
Endurance series.
No one has to advocate for it. Yeah, I don't think there are any Porsche haters as well.
Yeah,
Everyone just likes Porsche. Like everyone is a Ferrari fan, even if they say that they're not a Ferrari fan. Same for
Yeah,
Porsche.
iconic subline.
Yeah. But the one thing also different with the 918 is that it doesn't have a performance-oriented version for it. Like for
yeah.
example, the P1 has a P1 GTR, right? A completely track-focused car, not originally designed not to be road legal, but obviously a lot of them were later converted to be road legal cars. And the LaFerrari also has the FXXK and the FXXK Evo versions, which are completely track focused cars. Porsche doesn't have a similar car for the 918, but yeah, that also Porsche has never like created tried to sell a car which is completely track focused as well. Ferrari was known, like even the Enzo had a FXXK version of it, and I believe, I mean, McLaren was a very new brand at that point of time. But yeah, we also see P1 GTR aiming for that particular market where people buy their cars just for track use and not for road use. But yeah, it just tells a lot about these cars, like the process behind the manufacturing and the R&D behind it and the target customers which they were looking for. It tells a lot about them.
Now let's talk about the records actually. So 918
Records in,
Spider, 918 Spider.
yeah,
It they took it to the Nürburgring when it was released, and it broke the record in 2013 with with staggering 14 seconds. So the lap time that was the best lap time that was I think the from the factory driver itself. What is it?
I guess it was,
Mark Leaf. So he took it to Nürburgring and it was 6 minutes and 57 seconds
yeah, just
through the
under seven
Nürburgring.
minutes.
Yeah. And so they broke the record by 14 seconds. Was like any production model. Like it was the first Porsche to ever break the record.
yeah, and then after that they just continued.
Yeah, they
GT3 RS break record, GT2 RS break record.
never stopped, never looked back.
Never look back. Once Bugatti released the Veyron, never look back. All top speed records mine.
I mean, every company wants, every hypercar focused company wants, yes, that record should be mine. That top speed, that high
Hmm.
acceleration, that lap time, everything. It's a
Yeah,
constant
yeah.
race.
I mean, it
Even
helps
when
them
it's not.
sell cars. So
Uh,
win on for the racing, like all of these racing brands like Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche. All three of them are extensively were had history more in racing than in automotive industry. They were originally a racing company and then they came up with road going cars. They have a common motto that win on Sunday, sell on Monday, and that holds true for all of these three. And then they use this the same technology which they use on the Sundays, and then they sell cars on Monday. And all of these cars, like mentioned earlier, they have immense value. They hold immense value, which which don't seem to be having a ceiling. They just go on and on and on.
And this helps them to push boundaries.
So talking about the pricing of all of these cars, obviously we see the Ferrari. Just because it's a Ferrari, it holds up its name and value really well. So originally, I believe it was launched for around $1.4 million, and now skyrocketing. It's doubled. At least it's a double. So it starts at around $3 million, and a low mileage Ferrari will go as high as $5 million as well. I mean that it tells a lot about it since 500 cars were made, like 499 and one was made for an charity auction, I believe. So, in spite of it being like a mid low production range of 500, like we see that there were 918 Porsche 918s and 375 McLaren P1s. The LaFerrari is easily the best car which holds its value really well. And I mean we can associate why it is so desirable because we know that Ferrari is very notorious in assigning new cars to its customers. Like for example, now we have the F80. It won't Ferrari won't just sell the F80 to each and every customer which has the money to do so. They'll require the customers to have the Ferrari passion in them, and they ask like there are a lot of criteria which Ferrari have. They're not open to public, obviously, but like for the LaFerrari, it was known that the customer needed to have an Enzo, and similarly, we might see a similar situation right now. Like for the F80, you must need a LaFerrari or a LaFerrari Aperita. So that might be one of the reasons as well. So yeah, it's just great how well this car holds its value and how it's the best among the three cars in this matter. For the P1 also we see a similar thing. Gaurang, any views on that?
Yeah, so in 2015, it was originally launched at a price of $1 million, and now it should have it has skyrocketed. It is about just under $2 million. So yes, it has uphold its value. It is the most favorite. Prasang also has it in his a special place for P1 in his heart, and I'm happy about it. I also have it because I'll be honest because I experienced this. It's simulated only in real race in not real racing in one of the racing games only. The first hypercar which came as in the season itself was the P1, and I have drove like in the simulator as well like two three cars, but P1 outstand like it basically it set that bar too high. I was like, yes, I want this car. I want this car. And it shows in its value as well that it has skyrocketed. People want to own it, and so yeah, it is what the Holy Trinity it is all about, like upholding its value and pleasing the customer, giving that smile, giving that good experience to the driver, and I don't think audience would like it because they are gonna hear the screams only, which can be which can be disturbing to them because of that. There are so many environmentalists like why are you roaring this engine? Use an electric now. Why are you idling your engine? They
Bro, at
won't.
least it's a hybrid.
At least it's a hybrid now.
Oh, I have a hybrid. Which hybrid? A P1.
You are. So yeah, it is like that. So what about P1? Prasanth?
Uh, so 918, right?
Yeah,
918, it started off, I believe, at $845,000 in 2014, and around, I think, 1,000, uh, like 1,000 was made available. I think only a
yeah. So
thousand.
918 cars were there for the 918.
Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. Damn. Yeah, so basically there were, as you said, that only 918 cars. So obviously the pri value went skyrocketed. So it's and now it's, I think it's doubled, and it's around 1.5 to 1.6 million dollars in the US. And now, so I think it might even be more actually, because of the 918 being such an iconic car, being part of the Holy Trinity, with the Grand Tour episode and everything. Just, I think the value must be going, I don't know, higher than the Empire State, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know why, but why it is just like 1.6 or 1.2. I mean, it should be a little more according to me, the 918. Porsche
Uh,
doesn't usually come up with these rare cars, homologated series. 918 is one of those very rare special conditions, and still we don't see a huge increase in its price. It's just unusual for me, to be honest.
yeah, like the 9 has some, doesn't hold that much of a resale value for some reason in the US, and it's, so there's two packages to it also, right? The Isaac package,
Oh
that,
yeah,
so the Isaac package had a much more higher resale value because of the performance upgrades that brought with it. It was the package that broke the Nürburgring record. So I believe that's the reason for it being uh, a much higher reseller than the normal 918.
yeah,
And
yeah, makes sense.
also with the La Ferrari, as you said, there was like 500 pieces, and this was almost double of, like almost double the
MSRP.
quantity of car. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I feel like the resale value could have been a bit higher than it is, but yeah.
I mean, I
So
feel that eventually people are going to catch up to this fact, and then it will just like shoot up $1 million or two easily,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
McLaren and Ferrari, they both are notorious to have a lot of cars which are very, very rare. McLaren
yeah.
Speedtail, Sabre, all of those cars, very rare cars, like 12 of them, less than 100 of them. Even the Ferrari SP1, SP2, SP3 Daytona, all of those cars, they are very, very rare. And apart
Hmm.
from these, also, Ferrari has cars which are specially designed for a customer. So a customer comes and asks that I want a car like this, and the Ferrari design it for them, and then they, give it to them. So that's what Ferrari and McLaren does, and Porsche is not known to do that. In spite of that fact, it has not seen a huge inflation in price. It's just something unique, and I feel that eventually uh, the market is going to catch up to it, and it will shoot up in its price.
And I feel
Especially,
like with the GT3 RS right now, it is catching up. Like you can see the trend that it is catching up. The resale value of GT3 RS, even though it's not not very old as of
yeah,
now, it's still, the resale price is just going up and up and up. And as you said that we don't, like Porsche didn't have any special customized cars for its customers. Like the they've designed it in such a way that it caters to everyone, honestly. So the Porsche, as we spoke in the beginning of the podcast, that it is the classic car, right? So it doesn't want to change its legacy, its history, just to cater to a particular customer. It caters to its particular customer by being the by keeping the brand value that it is, by keeping the
yeah.
legacy, keeping the history. And now that the market is catching up to it, I feel like people are finally starting to realize and like cherish the rich history that Porsche has with its classic cars and with the GT3 RS. So that's why I feel maybe in the future we'll have a much higher resale value than even the GT3 RS has right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
I mean,
controversial opinion. Maybe.
I'm looking forward to what Porsche has in its
Yeah, yeah.
basket
With the
with
Mission X,
the.
Mission X.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Mission X especially, yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because the 918 at among these three cars, like we discussed earlier, it was the fastest to 100 kilometers an hour. But at the same time, it has the lowest value. It doesn't make sense. Maybe it has to do a lot with the name. Like Ferrari has
Yeah,
a huge name, McLaren has a huge name.
it's
But
just a
at
brand
this,
value, right?
yeah, currently Porsche is catching up very
Yeah,
fast in that name and the brand aspect. Easily it'll catch up, and it'll be a huge investment and a great investment for anyone who has the money. A spare
yeah,
$2 million lying around. I'll suggest that they invest it in a Porsche 918 Spider.
I mean, those people who want to just buy and keep it in their warehouses. We have seen so many Dubai sheikhs just keeping it there, or so many car dealers just keeping those cars there for just for the showcasing, and other motorsports fan who crazy motorsports fan, I would say, who have their huge big collections of old cars, vintage cars, supercars, hypercars. It's up to them. Like they'll only create the demand, they'll only create the resale values.
yeah,
It is them mostly. Yeah, but yeah, there are motorsport fans who would like, because it if they want to just keep it in the showroom or in their homes, it can be any car, Bugatti as well. But it is more track focused cars, these three, the Holy Trinity. So more people buy who are towards the track. They want to go out. They want to go to the track and drive it for 10 laps, 15 laps, 20 laps for the whole day. They want to do it. It is focused to them. So yeah, who has the money, spare money, buy these.
yeah.
Give me a ride.
Yeah, true, true. Me also.
And why, and while you were
Porsche fan
talking
will.
about Mission X, right? So I feel like Mission X, as we spoke in the podcast in the beginning, as Kush said, that it's beginning to form the Holy Trinity with the W1, with the F80. The Mission X might form the next Holy Trinity. So, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, the Mission X is just a concept for now, and the all the info of whatever the journalists do. It is said that it'll be a purely electric car. The Mission X was supposed to be a purely electric car, so that might be a little bit of a disappointment. But at this point of time, I think we are used to disappointments. The F80 is a V6, so that is also
Yes.
disappointing. Literally half the number of cylinders the LaFerrari had. But yeah, it's a trend in the automobile industry, which is I don't like that trend obviously, but something for the environment which we'll have to do. I don't know. Hopefully it, you know, weighs up to its expectations.
And Porsche can also do this thing. Like they are making synthetic fuels right now. They're working on synthetic fuels. So they might incorporate that into their Mission X.
Yeah,
So
it's
And
possible.
who knows?
we
It is
also know
Porsche
possible.
about, we also
also
know
they
about the new six-stroke engine, right?
yeah, that was
Hmm.
exactly what I was saying. They patented
Oh,
a six-stroke
Mhm.
engine.
Six-stroke
That's
engine.
also something really interesting. And also, Ferrari also like earlier, all the hydrogen powered cars, they just had a hydrogen fuel cell. So the fuel cell they generated electricity, and those that just ran the motors.
Mhm.
However, now a newer technology is coming, where basically the engine is the exact same, like the internal combustion engine, which we know the four-stroke one, exactly the same. However, it is modified slightly to have hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, not liquid hydrogen, I believe hydrogen only as its fuel, so that it runs off it. So that's basically just zero emissions and water as a byproduct. So it's just a win-win condition. And Ferrari has also patented a engine similar to it. It is upside down. So
I saw.
usually, Usually all the valves and the spark plugs and the fuel injectors are on the top of the engine, but now the engine
Everything is
is flipped
upside down.
180 degrees, so it's a upside down engine. And the patent designs, they had huge hydrogen tanks, like on one side of the engine or the other side of the engine, and the inline engine upside down in the engine just in the middle of it. So it's just crazy the
What?
amount of, I mean, these companies, they know that the industry which they're speaking to, and that they want the cars to remain internal combustion engine and not, have the soulless electric vibe to it. So hopefully they find some loopholes in, the Euro regulations or whatever regulations they have to deal with, and then they are able to deliver what the fans want, what the industry wants.
The use of
Yes,
regulations like
Euro 7 norms are coming, so they have to make sure about that as well.
the
And
Euro
yeah, like
regulations.
companies, Ferrari is working, Porsche is working on new engines, Toyota is also working on new engines, the hydrogen ones.
a- And
And
not
it's
just
good to
that,
see these.
It's good.
not
It's good.
just
Yeah.
that, we also see in F1, right? F1 also is going towards the sustainability uh,
Yeah.
initiatives, and it's trying to switch with more sustainable fuels. It's trying to switch whether it's the
Yeah. It
whole,
is.
even with the logistics that F1 carries with DHL and DHL, if you know, the DHL has those data sheets that they put out at the end of every month that encapsulate all their sustainability initiatives and how much they've saved, how much emissions they've saved, and what it's done. So
Yeah. F1, I believe, is
those
already.
sustainability initiatives
Yes, F1, I believe, is already a carbon neutral
already.
agency on its own. So, yeah,
It is shifting
basically
to
all
that.
of the exhaust and all of the, carbon
Yeah,
transport and
yeah,
everything
yeah.
involved with F1, they have somehow, they managed to recycle fuels, recycle a lot of things, and then incorporate all of those recycled materials back into the industry of F1. So yeah, it's a huge initiative, and in the we have seen that these cars we talked about, they took a lot of inspiration from F1, and hopefully if we see some similar inspiration being taken again in the future, it will be a huge boost for the industry as well.
Yes, and like oil company Shell is also working on synthetic fuel. So everybody has their everybody is shifting to a sustainable energy thing. So that is what is basically pushing the boundaries as well. Because we are innovating new things. We are trying to get new, like, who knows, like, using synthetic fuels, we might gain potential horsepower boosts as well. So performance gains, each and every second counts in a race. And that is what Formula One is about. And these cars take Formula One inspiration from Formula One. So yeah, so that is what is pushing boundaries. It's not limiting ourselves to what we have. It is creating new limits.
Yeah, talking about these new limits, we have the F80, which we can talk about, the new Holy Trinity. I hope that, I mean, McLaren did a wonderful job. They kept the soul, they kept the V8, and they managed to, you know, one up their performance on the P1. But at the same time, we see Ferrari, they literally halved their number of cylinders, like we talked about. They added two more electric motors, like LaFerrari had one, and now the F80 has three. Two driving the front axle and one assisting the V6 engine and driving the rear axle. A total of about 1200 horsepower, I believe. Uh, a very, very controversial car. Many people don't like the looks of it, the black patch at the near the bumper of the car, and obviously a lot of haters for the V6, a lot of advocates for the V6 as well, because it is the same V6 which is used in in the Le Mans car. However, I mean, obviously it can be the exact same thing. There are a lot of regulations which are at play in the race, and there are a lot of different regulations at play in the road. So Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I don't like it as much as the LaFerrari, and I believe that it is not as good looking. It doesn't have as much soul. I cannot stop about the F80, so it's better that I don't start about it at the very
That'll
start. So
destroy that'll destroy the soul of the podcast as well.
true. Instead of, yeah, Holy Trinity, I'll be just like, woo, new Holy Trinity. But yeah, at the same point of time, the W1, the W1 is a good step forward. It has the V8, it has more power, and everything which we wanted in the new W1. Again, we have a lot of controversial opinions on the look of the car. The front end, many people said looks like a Rimac. I don't know. I
Yes.
mean, even I agree to it at a certain point, till a certain point. But again, at least they have the V8. That's all I care about for now. Good.
Yeah, I mean, like the looks of the P1, that smiling face, it basically tells. But this is kind of on the plain side. But yeah, some people like it, some people don't like it. The looks are controversial.
Yeah,
That is the thing. So
yeah,
all in all, like these cars set new standards for hypercar development, providing that electrification that could coexist with high performance combustion engines. They are also influence the automotive industry as whole, inspiring the future supercars to embrace hybrid and even fully electric powertrains. Mission X, paving the way for the next generation of high performance cars, eco-conscious cars. That is all for today's podcast. See you in the next one.
goodbye, guys.
Bye. Yep.
हाँ
मैं तो गरीब हूँ।
हाँ, चलो हो गया शॉर्ट।
लेट्स चलो।
रुक जा, फोन तो खोलने दो।
फरारी फरारी उसके बाद
ये
फरारी
अटक क्यों
मैक्लारन
गया?
पोर्शे खत्म बात।
प्रसंग अटक गया है ना, या मेरे में अटका
हाँ,
सिर्फ? अच्छा
नहीं
तो
नहीं
ठीक
अटका
है।
अटका। बहुत अच्छा दिख रहा है।
हेलो 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 हेलो
हाँ
अरे
आ गया आ गया।
यार, थोड़ा और लेट आता था।
हेलो।
हाँ भाई आ गया है।
सॉरी, अरे वो कॉल आ गया था मेरे को तो नेटवर्क चला गया।
ठीक है ठीक है, चलो तो स्टार्ट करना है।
हाँ तो फरारी फिर मकलेरन फिर पोर्श।
ठीक है। या